Let's do it. Hey, welcome back to Total Spotfest. I'm JJ. That's Austin down there. And over there we got Jamie. See, I'm going to mix it up here. You never know. It's like Kung Fu. You know, it's just like when somebody pisses in your seat randomly. You don't know who did it. You know, it could have been anybody.
and don't forget, we are live.
Live here on YouTube.
I like that you mixed it up, but you only mixed up the two of us, and you were still first.
Yeah,
I'm still first.
Because he's conceded. He has to say himself first.
I do. It's true. Give me this one thing. I get beat down on everything else for the rest of my life. I gotta have one thing, damn it. Okay.
I know you're a Missouri fan and a Steeler fan right now, man. Life is not too good for you right now.
I mean, okay, well, yeah, basketball season's going on now. Yeah, it's not good, you know. But
That's
hey,
what I'm saying.
I'm following the Senior Bowl more than I'm following Mizzou basketball. I think we're playing right now. We're probably getting our shit handed to us by Arkansas.
I feel like the Steelers overperformed this year. Like, it was still a good year to be a Steelers fan.
Like
I always say, for those of you out there, I promise this is a wrestling podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get to wrestling, but
Big Rob.
Hey, what's up, Rob? Hey, Heather.
And Heather, yes.
Which reminds us, chat is live. Please, if you're here, hop in the chat. We do appreciate you guys. Your first time here, hi, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. No, the Steelers always are gonna until they figure out a couple very key things. They're going to continue to be just above 500, barely making or barely missing the playoffs consistently. They'll have a couple games they'll win. You go, they shouldn't have won that. And they'll have a couple games that are like, wow, that looks like the worst team in the NFL. Welcome to mediocrity.
That's still better than being a fan of a team that regularly is just one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Jamie reminds me of that. Jamie reminds me of the long years of being a Chiefs fan when they were really bad. You know, so Steelers have never been that. Good, bad. You know, you're really bad. You get good picks. You know, but you know if you, I get it, right? But yeah, we don't have that where we have the like 2 and 13, 14 years or whatever. But it's almost worse because it's like we're not bad enough to get a franchise quarterback. We're not good enough to make the Super Bowl.
We moved up. And for the record, I'm officially a fan of the most hated NFL team in the world. We have taken over the Cowboys and taken over Tom Brady's Patriots. So, yeah, suck it. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
That's when you know your team's finally like a true long-term really good team when everyone starts hating them.
Other than the Cowboys, everybody just hates the Cowboys. I think because they're
Cowboys
fans.
In general.
It's because they're fans. This is gonna be our year. This is gonna be our year.
Okay, Chief fans were like that too for the longest time. Not gonna lie.
The Cowboys have not.
Everybody's like that a little bit.
Yeah, the Cowboys have not played in a conference championship game in like 3 decades.
It's the whole America's team moniker, right? We're America's team. Says who? You know you're not. You're not even Texas's team.
I mean, the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys haven't been to play. I mean, the Super Bowl, let alone the NFC Championship. Like, I mean, Vince McMahon's like paid off like 10 women by then. You know. Oh, hey, spoiler alert. We're gonna get into that.
Again, thank you guys for joining us. And those of you watching us live, you're watching us on the replay. Hi, hello. We're gonna get into it. We got a whole lot of wrestling to get to. Dynamite happened tonight. We had a small pay-per-view happen over the weekend. I'm kidding. We had one of the signature pay-per-views, one of our favorites, Royal Rumble, happened over the weekend. Lots of stuff going in and around and all over the place in the wrestling world. So, before we get into it, I have one simple, real quick question for Austin, okay?
Ooh.
Did you finish your Royal Rumble watch before this weekend's Royal Rumble?
I did not. I got very close.
It's a tough challenge. You put yourself against the wall there.
So I was on track, full head of steam until I got to 2018. And that's where they go to it's 5 hours one year, and then it starts being 4 hours the rest of the years. And it's just too much of the modern product that's not been good. I got through 2020, and 2020 you get Edge returning at the end, so that's a fun one. And most of them have at least one really good match. They've got a couple cool spots in the Rumble. but it ends up just feeling like an eternity where nothing particularly important happens. And yeah, so I got through 2020 by the time the Rumble started, and then I watched the 2024 Rumble, and then I decided 95% is good enough of the Rumbles. I saw those ones when they aired, so they've all happened fairly recently. I'm not going to spend 12 more hours watching modern products.
I mean, the 80s and 90s, that's the meat of the matter there, right? Especially those 90s.
Even early 2000s.
Even through about 2005.
True.
Through about 2005, 2006-ish, it's pretty solid. And man, yeah, like 2012 on, it just starts coming to a screeching halt of being largely enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to the Royal Rumble in a little bit, okay? So we got a lot to talk about, so we're saving it. And because I don't know about you, Jamie, but tonight's Dynamite was a little bit light compared. You know, it was still, I thought it was good compared for the card they put out there, but it was rather casual.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. We have somebody there that's at Dynamite and Rampage.
No shit, man.
That's awesome.
I kind of want, but I kind of don't want Rampage spoilers. I don't know.
I mean, I do. I'm just excited about the CMLL boys who showed up.
Yeah.
Like when I saw like who they had there, I'm like, oh. And if you don't know CMLL,
oh, you need to get with the program, JJ. Well,
I know that's for your gig.
Yeah, it's definitely my game. God loves you. I'll leave it up to you if you're still kind of tagging along here. If you want to put spoilers, that is your prerogative. If you want to put Ruby Soho spoilers, hey Ruby, I will love you forever.
She doesn't win a title.
She's gonna win a title. They got a good storyline going. They got a second storyline going. She didn't win this past Rampage, but that's okay. You know,
you're gonna win and lose a title before she ever wins a title.
You don't know this.
She's at least 6 steps away from winning a title, from what I understand. The official word is
yes.
At least 6. Could be more. We don't know.
Let's talk about Dynamite first, okay? This is why I always announce myself first, because I come here and I get beat up continuously. So hey,
you know. Dynamite. I kind of agree with what Rob's saying. You know, a little bit with like audio issues, because it sounded like the crowd was like uber dead. And I hope that's not the case. You know, God loves you. I really like that name. Maybe you got a little insight into that, because it just sounded like the crowd just wasn't into a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the matches were fine. Okay, cool.
It was
okay. So
sometimes some places that they're at, maybe it's just the arena, the production at the place. You know,
they
did
have the acoustics.
Heather, I think the one you went to, the same thing. We were like, it didn't sound like the crowd was dead. And you're like, oh no, they were popping. You know, so sometimes it might be the arena. I don't know.
They've had that issue on a few pay-per-views as well, where the crowd's just not mic'd very well. And you can see people in the background like standing and cheering, but it doesn't sound that loud.
Yeah.
I thought, because I saw reports that they sold less than 2,000 tickets for this show. I thought early on in the show, it sounded like the people that were there were pretty hot for what was going on.
There you go. So yeah, they said half the arena was cut off. So that does do a little bit, but regardless. So Dynamite tonight was a mishmash of honestly goodness for me. I really enjoyed the oddity of this show, because it's not your typical Dynamite, you know, like it goes through its same trope.
Yeah.
And it had 3-year-old flair of just like, hey, you know what? Let's see if Jeff Hardy and John Moxley can tear the roof off this place. Newsflash, Moxley can. You know, it's just, you know, you have these things. You had some weird little things, like quirky things, but for me, the night was simple. You got a Mr. Wardlow, which I love that moment. And you got Rob Van Dam the whole fucking show. And coming out to Pantera, of course, because that's how he should always
That's how he should. 100%.
So yeah, we can run through this really quick because, like, as we all know, we got a lot of Fed stuff and other things to go into. Gentlemen, what did you think of the opener? Mox Hardy.
It was fine
I
for
liked it.
being a Jeff Hardy. I hate to say this because I love me the Hardy Boys, right? But that's also the Hardy Boys. Hardy Boys from, I don't know, 98-ish, give or take. You know, it's a miracle Jeff Hardy can walk, let alone still wrestle. That doesn't mean I want to see it every week on my TV.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy largely just doesn't have that second gear anymore. Like, he's got a top speed that is much below what it used to be. And it just, you can't unsee it when he's wrestling. It's just a bit slower. That being said, I thought this was the perfect match to kind of make you ignore that. I thought this was a great way to open the show. It was a fun TV match. Mox works a little bit of slower pace a lot of times, so it didn't really like make Jeff Hardy stand out as much. He's lost a bit of a step. And it was kind of the fun nostalgia Jeff Hardy match you would want.
I didn't think it was a bad match though. I don't think, and I don't know if you think about this, Jamie. I didn't think there was a bad match tonight.
I didn't think so either. I thought all the matches were really good.
Wow.
Even Chris Jericho.
Wow.
We'll get into that in just a second. No, I thought this match was, I thought you said very well paced for what you have in a Jeff Hardy. If you had 2002 Jeff Hardy, world champion Jeff Hardy, it would have been a completely different match than what it was today. You have a much older, and my body is pretty much destroyed Jeff Hardy, and you had Moxley go, all right, let's give these people what they want. They want to see lots of, hard hitting and maybe a swanton. All right, let's go. And it was beautiful. I effing loved that match.
I effing love what happened after the match.
Yes. So speaking of after the match, so there were I can't talk, guys. I can't.
Words are hard, y'all.
Moxley, talked some trash on some CMLL luchadors not that long ago, and magically 4 of them jump and they just beat the living piss out of Moxley because there was no BCC for backup. And I thought it was awesome. I love the CMLL luchadors, not near as much as you do because I'm more of a New Japan guy. I do appreciate it. Like, what was that? Lador? Ladador? Yeah. Everybody, like, if you know. Yeah.
Lador is, ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what'd you guys think of that? And what do you think this means?
I love this. There was talk about a CMLL partnership, a while ago with it. For those of you not familiar with Mexican wrestling, because you have the two, just like, you have two main federations. So you have Triple L and then CMLL. Triple L, if you want to make it a equation to it, is more like WWE of Mexico. Okay, they're the big one, production, all that stuff. CMLL is more the AEW-ish, the more focused on luchador, right? The more about wrestling, lucha wrestling one. So I thought it was a fantastic partnership. I didn't even see what that was.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to put up more polls.
Oh, okay.
So, we have a little bit more interaction. I mean, obviously, we love it when you chat because we will always respond to chats unless you're like, shaming a lion tamer. That's the only time you'll not get anything at least out of this
Somebody
guy.
do it. Somebody do it. I'll unblock you. It's fine. Do it.
But seriously, like, we're gonna try to do that. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, guys. Just helps out.
So I personally love having CMLL attached to AEW because they do match up very, very nice stylistically as federations, and I think it's a good opportunity for you to get some. There's great wrestlers in Triple L in AAA, right? I've waxed poetically about El Vikingo on and on, right? And a lot of other ones, but there's a lot of ones you haven't heard of that are athletically just about as good, but they also have a lot of different types of luchadors. They have a lot of, you get to see one this Saturday. They have submission luchadors, which I know is just going to get Jamie happy. I think it's fantastic and it's good. And it reminds me, and let me know if you got this vibe too, Austin. It reminds me of mid-90s WCW, where they had the couple of the main big, storylines, which is the front and the end of the show. And they're like, oh shit, we don't know what to do in the middle. Fill it with something. So then what did they do? They did a bunch of cruiserweights and luchadors in the middle of the show. And it was great. That's what it kind of felt like as a nod of the cap to for a quick moment. At least that was in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would even go a step further. It reminds me of AEW a couple of years ago, when a lot of the American audience was a little less familiar with Penta and Rey Fenix.
Okay, yeah.
And some of the luchas they've had. And you would get weeks of TV where it's, let's throw one of the best wrestlers in the world you've heard of in the ring with this dope-ass luchador you've never heard of. And it was always good. So, yeah, I think bringing CMLL in, long-term, it's probably not a huge deal storyline-wise on TV. Like, they'll pop in here and there for some dope matches. You might get the occasional storyline. I don't think it's going to lead to anything big. I think it's cool that they're working with the Blackpool Combat Club and not just on Rampage against the Best Friends, which tends to happen a lot of times,
right?
Which is still cool. But it's good that they're getting a little bit of shine. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see them pop up from time to time. The one kind of interesting thing to me on this is I wonder if the amount of just being super over Roosh has kind of opened them up to featuring more luchas.
That's an astute judgment there.
Yeah,
maybe.
I love me some Roosh. Roosh for the win. Roosh for the dub.
If it has, more power to him. I love seeing luchadors on my TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing right after that. We had the first of the dealer choice matches, gentlemen. Mm-hmm. We had Adam, Hangman, Magnum TA Page going up against Taya Leona. And there's one thing Jamie loves, and that is a Samoan that can move really fast and like really looks like he can hurt somebody. This fits the description, just like a Samoa Joe does, and just like some of the Fat Two boys that are out there. I love this match. I have no negatives I can think of when I'm thinking about this match. Like, well paced. Hanger never looked like he is on the top of his game. I think that's the best way I can put it.
Oh yeah. Hanger
is by far at the top of his game. And him and, the love triangle of the AEW championship, I feel like that's going to come to a head very soon. Spoiler alert. But no, I thought this match, it effed.
Yeah. We don't really get to see Taya Leone other than as a henchman pretty much. So it was nice to see him actually get out there and wrestle on his own because he can go. You're right. Big Samoans that can move. Give it to me.
Yeah, I think there was a reoccurring theme throughout the night for me, and it was when it was first announced, I was about it, and then afterwards, I was very glad it happened. Right. This match was pro wrestling as fuck. Like, if I had to pick a match from like
write that down.
Fairly recent pro wrestling to show someone that had never seen it to like try and get them into pro wrestling, I would strongly consider this one. This felt like 1992 WCW. You got your long hair, mustache, baby face fighting the big angry Samoan guy. It was stiff in the good kind of way. Like they were hitting each other. Obviously, there were a few bigger spots that you probably wouldn't have seen in 1992, but it was just paced and executed like old school pro wrestling. Your babyface fighting a strong monster that he's got to overcome. And yeah, I thought this was probably my match of the night.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. It would have been, except for the main event, which one Jamie Faulkner who happens to have access to our Twitter spoiled it. I'm just saying. Nostradamus struck.
I have a match of the night 1B that's not even the main event, but we will get to it.
Okay.
Is it War Daddy? I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, let's just
Mr.
keep
Wardlow.
going through it.
We put the pin in it. We got to wait to pull that pin out.
Yeah.
Okay. Put pin it. All right. So after the match, you had the Bucks arriving in a limo, and they were called Nick and Matt, and it's a $500 fine if you call them Nick and Matt. Dumb. I'm sorry. Then right after that, you had the Undisputed Kingdom coming out with Mr. Wardlow.
The best flub up that Dasha has ever done. Thank you. It's
like
fantastic.
She rode the struggle bus the entire time she was trying to announce him. I don't know if you guys got that. Like,
yeah.
She was like right in their front seat of that struggle bus. Like, I don't know how to say these words right now. It
and Dasha's fantastic. We love Dasha. Just putting that out there. Okay.
Big Dasha fans. Yes. But yeah, so she's supposed to say Mr. Mayhem Wardlow. She finally fixed it, but she said Mr. Wardlow. So cat's out of the bag. I am never going to refer to him as War Daddy anymore. War Daddy is dead. It's Mr. Wardlow moving forward.
We need a Mr. Wardlow shirt.
Probably already getting printed.
I unironically think Mr. Wardlow is way cooler than Mr. Mayhem.
Same. Right?
Like Mr. Wardlow, that might be one of those things that just low-key takes off and everyone gets behind. And he's going to get that Dana Brooke push where everyone's like, it's kind of ironic at first, but like you genuinely get behind him. Yeah, Jamie, about that pin that I was telling you, we're gonna go and pull that out. This was my 1B match of the night. By pure virtue of being just like a great pro wrestling match, it was not the second best match of the night. But this is one of those random ones, and this didn't even get advertised ahead of time. This just got kind of thrown out there, at least from what I was looking through earlier in the day. Was not expecting 10 minutes of Wardlow and a luchador throwing down. And this way over-delivered expectations. I was thoroughly entertained for this entire match.
You know, they did a small bit on Collision, I think, about this, because Commander challenged Orange Cassidy for the international title, right, which led to this, you know. And I know you've had some, you know, preclusions against Commander in the past, Jamie, to put it kindly. But this was not just 3 minutes of Wardlow beating the living piss out of somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they sold a little bit of it. Oh, he can win at any time. And they had Cole on commentary, which is fantastic. I love the kind of tie-in of Cole in the wheelchair now. I'm pretty sure that's Roddy's wheelchair. Still like to see him in that little like knee scooter, but whatever.
A rascal.
Oh, that's for Roddy. Okay.
Roddy's rascal. He needs Roddy's rascal.
He's a Roddy rascal. Yes. So I mean, they sold it like that, but I mean, you got some offers, you got some other stuff, you know. It does Wardlow so much better when you put him in a wrestling match instead of go out there and squash somebody and grunt and walk away every week match, right? So much better. Even though the difference was minuscule, it was actually pretty big. It actually helped out a lot, I think, for his character. And they even did this, even some of the silly things. You talk about old school wrestling, some of the silly things like him stopping to look at himself on the Jumbotron posing, right? Old school heel shit. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. The heel shit was at a nice high there. But my favorite thing, like to you guys' point, like I've been very, very, very vocal about shitting on War Daddy matches, right? Well, this wasn't a War Daddy match. This was a Mr. Wardlow match. And if you have a Mr. Wardlow match moving forward,
okay,
it is going to do nothing but build a better character for him. Like, War Daddy squashes people. Ooh, knuckle dragging, like you said, IQ of 30. Mr. Wardlow is smart and beefy and heely. Like, Mr. Wardlow match. That's what I'm calling it now.
Dude, he literally turned and posed towards the Tron in one of the most clever
fantastic.
things I've seen in forever.
Fantastic.
Boom. It was like
Kind of going back to the last match we were talking
Old
about.
school heel shit.
This
I love
this
it.
reminded me of when WCW brought in the Luchas in the mid 90s, and you'd often get them with the cruiserweights, but every once in a while you'd get like one of them wrestling Scott Norton, and it was the little fast, quick flippy guy against the giant powerhouse. And when done well, it's always entertaining. And like the more I think about it, I think this entire show might have been the most WCW episode of Dynamite of all time.
Ooh,
And I
that's a
mean that in the most complimentary way possible.
That's a very good analogy, honestly. No, not
I
just
thought
say that.
top to bottom,
I'm
it
with
was
you.
like that like the cool part of 90s wrestling without all the like the really questionable shit.
and Austin, I am really pissed off at you now because instantly the Monday Nitro of Scott Norton going up against masked Juventud Guerrera is going through my head right now. I still remember that match. It was at the first hour. It was the same night that we had Chris Jericho and D. Malenko sparring jabs at each other, talking wise, because D. Malenko wasn't allowed to challenge for the belt. If you remember that whole
Was that the night of
moment.
1004 Listerine?
No, 1004 was like I think like 6 months before that.
Oh,
because
okay.
he was
All right.
trying to get the belt the first time. This is
Gotcha.
when he already had the belt. He's like, nah,
right.
nah, you can't have it. Yeah. But I still remember Scott Norton just beating the bloody piss out of Juventud. Like just little Hoovy.
Oh,
So-
love Hoovy.
Scott Norton beating the piss out of anybody is one of my like top 50 favorite things in all of pro wrestling.
Oh my god.
That was great. So right after that, Roderick Strong gets on the mic, and of course he's like, doing his usual yell, and he had to pay the price for not taking Roddy's deal because Roddy was trying to get in there for the match. So they were gonna start just beating the hell out of Commander, and here comes Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero to make the save. Gentlemen, are we gonna see a Kingdom versus the Best Friends plus Commander on Wednesday, or I don't know, Collision?
Yeah, I
Sometime
feel
soon,
like we're
yeah.
getting that sometime between now and Revolution.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, if you're going to have factions, like, have them occasionally do big faction battles. I'm all right with that.
I don't mind at all. You've got to keep you've got that match for Revolution, so you got to keep Roddy and Orange around on your TV somewhere. So yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was all secondary to me. That was all just more of the same. We've seen them, we've seen
Yeah,
Roddy spar.
we know where it's going, and it's going to be rad when we get there. Along the way, it might not always be the most entertaining part of the show, but it was fine. Wasn't bad.
So speaking of probably the not most entertaining part of the show, and it's not because it wasn't a match. I think it was just because it was not in the ring. I think this would have been much better served in the ring. And that was the interview by Tony Schiavone between Ricky Starks, Big Bill, and Darby Allin and Sting. I thought it was at best. The thing that made it for me was Ricky Starks' facial expressions, because that, and then Big Bill, like when he's like, "I'm gonna win that," he's like, started looking, he's like, "The Bill and I." Okay, we're good now. That's perfect. Like the little things on the side. Like I love the
Well,
little
that's Ricky
things
Starks
that-
being who Ricky Starks is. He's so good. This wasn't necessary. That's all I gotta say about it.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have Sting on your TV show, Sting needs to be in the arena.
Yeah.
It's the Stinger. He's on his victory lap farewell tour. Any Sting we get that's not him out in front of the people is always going to seem lesser. And yeah, it was what it was.
Yeah, Sting Pop goes a long way, man.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously they're gonna fight each other, and one person
Next week.
respects one person, and one person doesn't respect one person. Whatever. Belts are changing hands. Call it now. Thank you very much. So
sticking to my guns. They're not going to change hands. I'm calling it.
there's no way in hell Sting loses. So they could win. The only way that happens is if they win by disqualification.
I've never said it was going to be clean. I said they're not going to change hands. Those belts are not going to change hands.
But Sting's not losing. Sting's going to retire undefeated.
I still think they're getting the belts.
I do too.
We'll see in less than 7 days, ladies and gentlemen.
Remember that $20 bet?
That never happened? Yes, I do. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Let's
I'm going to get $20 out of you.
Let's become timeless, okay? Let's become timeless.
No,
How about that?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, no, I'm skipping ahead. Yes.
Is you have Kyle Fletcher going up against Chris Jericho. And I
want to hear you on this because you said even this match. So let me dig in. Let's hear it, Jamie.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm really over Chris Jericho wrestling on my TV screen. And I am a Jerichoholic through and through, ladies and gentlemen. He is on my Mount Rushmore.
Big Jericho.
I love Chris Jericho. And I'm done with him. But the thing with this match, gentlemen, that made it for me, Kyle Fletcher is a future superstar. And his super kicks might be the best in the business right now. I know it's a young buck thing, but the ones he landed on Jericho's face and the botched buckle brainbuster that ended up actually looking super cool because they figured it out and saved each other. Like, it was quite well done. Yes. Kyle Fletcher might become my new favorite wrestler.
Kyle Fletcher come out party for sure.
So Kyle Fletcher looked great in this. And going back to my running analogy to mid-90s WCW, this match was basically what Jericho was doing half the time in the mid-90s WCW. When he wasn't working cruiserweights, he was working washed up guys that just couldn't go anymore. That was this. During the match, I think the best analogy I can make for 2024 Chris Jericho is back when the wife and I were living in Houston, we got free tickets to go see Rat. If you're not familiar with Rat, they sing Round and Round. They were good for a minute decades ago. Couple singles. But this band was not actually Rat. It was the drummer from Rat and 4 other guys he had just started playing Rat songs with. And I don't know how to directly articulate the two, but Chris Jericho wrestling in 2024 is the time I saw Rat in like 2015.
Almost
That's so
Rat.
awesome. Yeah, it's like Splenda.
Would you call that quarter rat? I know that's 5 of them, but we'll go with quarter rat.
Man, it was like I felt good and bad for Fletcher. Fletcher was doing the Lord's work out there. But and maybe one of y'all has an answer to this. On AEW TV in 2024, who is Chris Jericho for? Who is his audience? Like, is it just to sing Judas when he comes out and that's it?
His audience is for Chris Jericho.
Completely agree.
I said he's got too much clout and too much power, and too much clout over Tony Khan. He's got whatever. He's somehow tied in with incorporation with the company. I don't know I don't know what that means, but because of that, he does the Hogan thing and just books himself to be the guy, right? Does the Jeff Jarrett thing, books himself to be the guy, right? This is we talk about old tropes. Here's a trope as old as time, right? Somebody, big name, established in the company, on a high level, makes himself the guy. And that's what he's trying to do.
Well, he's not the guy.
Well, he's not the guy, no. But this match got a lot more time than it should have, I felt, even though I loved every second of Kyle Fletcher on my TV, and I agree with Jamie's statement wholeheartedly. Because Kyle Fletcher was always a guy that was in the tag team that was with Will Ospreay for me for a long time, right? I could not tell you his name, to be honest with you. It's Mark Davis and the other Australian kid, whoever his name is, right? He is he is fantastic under Don Callis' tutelage. I like that whole bit of it. It was great. Everything this match, like though, was about 5 minutes too long in my opinion. Okay, maybe 4 or 5 minutes too long, and I think you did the story, even for Jericho's perspective, the story a disservice by having Jericho win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Jericho lost to Takeshita, then he lost to Powerhouse Hobbs. He should have lost to Fletcher as well. If you can do the downtrodden angle, never fails, right?
But the whole thing, and you knew that was not going to happen because if he won, he gets to rematch against Takeshita.
I know they put that in there, which telegraphed it. I just feel as a broader story arc, if you really wanted to do that, cool, you could have built that match up. If you really want to sell that match, you want to have that match at Revolution, cool. You could put that on the beginning of my card at Revolution. I don't care, right? I felt it would have been better. Because it did a disservice to Fletcher a little bit that he lost, because I didn't feel like I felt like it would have been better, for my opinion, story arc to have him lose, even though they built it in so he wasn't going to lose. I know that, but that's my opinion.
Yeah. So my thought is I think you're on the right track. I think they should have done the Red Dawn father trope. And if anybody's ever watched the movie Red Dawn, it is an American cinema classic. And everybody should see it. The original with Peace Ways and Jennifer Grey, Charlie Sheen. I could go on, but there's this moment where they go to, like, I guess it's the concentration camp or the camp of people that live there, and they're talking to their father, and like he tells them to leave, and he yells, "Avenge me! Avenge me!" I don't know if anybody remembers that. This guy does, because it's one of my favorite movies.
Well, I remember that.
But I'm thinking they could do that with Jericho and Sammy Guevara. He could basically get the shit kicked out of him by every single person in the family, and then tell his son, Sammy, to avenge him. And then you can put Sammy at a higher level because everybody still wants to push Sammy. That's how I feel like it would make so much sense to push him.
I think it would make more sense to just stop all this nonsense with Jericho and the family and do other things. Powerhouse Hobbs,
wrong.
You need to take your logic. We've had this talk before, okay? You with your
this
logic.
Isn't logic. This is coming from an emotional place because I'm tired of seeing Chris Jericho feud with Don Callis family.
Okay.
Powerhouse Hobbs almost squashed Chris Jericho, and it did absolutely nothing for him. Well, I think Kyle Fletcher should have beat Jericho tonight. Beating Chris Jericho it doesn't mean anything to the audience. And that goes back to my, who is Chris Jericho's audience?
Yeah.
No one really cares when he loses. So you don't really gain anything by beating him. That being said, per the story they're doing, you have to beat this guy to get a rematch against Takeshita. Why is he wrestling Kyle Fletcher and not the guy who literally squashed him 3 months ago? Now the logic's coming back into it because it makes a lot better story sense to be like, cool, beat this big powerhouse that tore you in half a few months ago if you want another shot to Takeshita.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I'm just saying, if they're so hell bent on making this thing happen, then make it Sammy's push and then the swan song for Jericho.
Is there a satisfying conclusion to this storyline for either of you? Because I can't think of one that would have made this even semi worth it.
I don't think there's an end to the storyline. It's one of those perpetual motion machines. You don't know. He beats Takeshita next week. Let's say that happens, which it probably is going to, unfortunately, right? He beats Takeshita. Then what? Don Callis' family wants revenge, right? He loses to Takeshita. What happens? Jericho wants revenge. They don't have an out for that because Jericho won't give up his damn TV time. I'm sorry. I keep saying that. That's my opinion. I feel like that's what it is. Jericho won't take a step back and not hear Judas being sung on TV live.
So
meanwhile, you could put him on commentary. You could put him on a bunch of things where you could still get Jericho but you wouldn't have this. You wouldn't have the Don Callis family being occupied with Jericho.
I think the logical way, the way that will make me happy, is Takeshita loses on Dynamite. They set up a rematch for them at Revolution. I know, but go with me.
50-50 booking, sure.
Rematch. Loser retires.
Retires? Okay.
Then you have 2 retirements on Revolution. One who goes out on top undefeated thing. And then Jericho.
I don't think there's any chance that happens,
No.
but I would be on board with that. But even then, I would still feel like that was backing your way into a satisfying conclusion, not like laying the tracks along the way and telling a good story.
I just don't see a good conclusion to that.
I think the best conclusion is that Jericho becomes a full-time cruise ship operator, and he's just always got Jericho cruises going on. And once a quarter, they do a live Dynamite from his cruise ship, and he gets to host it. And we get fun Jericho for 2 hours every 3 months. And he can wrestle there if he wants to, and you'll be excited about it because you only get it a few times a year. That would be the best situation for me.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to do a Jericho cruise. I know Rob put something out there. I would love to go do that because, like, I mean, the wife and I have always wanted to go on a cruise anyway. But it's like one of those things. Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun. Whole bunch of wrestling fans. So, like, you have plenty of shit to talk about with complete strangers. You know, like, you could easily get in a conversation with somebody who thinks a figure 4 lock's way better than a line tamer. Like,
you could easily be playing slots next to Steve Macklin out of nowhere. You know,
out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere, just like, oh, there's Steve Macklin next to me. What's up? You know, it's just
yeah,
or something.
Like I would be down. Or hell, you hear Abaddon in full makeup singing "Bodies" by Drowning
That was
Pool.
amazing. That was
I was very excited about
For those
that.
you don't know what we're talking about, the Jericho Cruise just finished. Bunch of clips were posted online. You know, Swerve had a killer performance. There's all sorts of really good stuff. Karaoke night. Abaddon was on the cruise. She did Bodies. The bodies hit the floor. The bodies hit the floor. Killed it. Like, I don't want to say better than the original, but it was fucking good. So
I have been fortunate enough to see Abaddon perform that in person at karaoke, and go see the video online. It's great.
Oh, so that's her wheelhouse, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's their go-to for karaoke is Drowning Pool.
That's perfect. All right, so speaking of bodies,
a total 180. How about a total 180 on the show here after that match?
Yeah, so you had that moment. And then you had the Bang Bang Scissor Gang come out, and I God, the Jesus Loves You or God Loves You is still around. I want to know, like, that pop sounded like it was hot for the Bang Bang Gang specifically. And then you had the Acclaim come out. They're just talking about how great they are and they love each other and it's great.
Yeah,
but
that was like 4 minutes of just because we need them on our TV and we need the arena people to see them, and everyone loves all of them. So
anybody else?
Go ahead.
Did you notice that Max Caster threw his belt on the ground like 3 times really, really hard? Or am I the only one who noticed that?
I did not see that.
I didn't see that.
He's like, Squink. I'm like, damn, dude, what'd that belt do to you? They're not scissoring you back these days?
Apparently.
Like, damn.
Yeah, keeping the bit and the running theme going from the 90s Nitro. We got the unnecessary in-ring segment that really didn't do much for story, but everyone got their catchphrases the crowd loves off, and it was fairly short. So great little piece of Dynamite.
Get that cheap pop. Go for it. Even with Rock Card Juice Board, the newest member. So good.
So good. Yeah, I love that. All right. So after this, you arguably had match of the night. At least in my opinion.
This is my match of the night.
This is my 1B because I had 1A, and 1B. And 1A was Mox. This is 1B. Like, Taya Valkyrie is amazing. And we already know what Donna Purrazzo can do, and you have both of them in there who have wrestled each other I don't know, like 40 times. You know, they know each other quite well. They know how to do the things. And the thing that made this that much better, when Toni Storm on the damn commentary. The best women's wrestler right now. It's not even wrestling. Like, she doesn't have to wrestle. She's
there
so
was at
good.
least 4 times that I counted. There's probably more, Austin. I don't know if you were counting or not, where she stopped the rest of the commentary team cold in their tracks with her comedy.
Yeah, like when she asked Tony who does his makeup.
And her faces every time they look at her, like trying to do the whole thing. Like, God bless America.
Tony Storm on commentary is a gift that just keeps on giving.
So good.
It is pronounced souffle, apparently. And
Mr. Tasmaniac, I have a bone to pick with you. I enjoy your work, but it's pronounced souffle. I thought I should tell you that.
And then trying to explain to her that oh no, it wasn't Tony Schiavone, it was Ian Riccaboni that was here. Ian, what? What is a Riccaboni? You know, it's like, oh my god, that was before the match even started. The match, first of all, this was my match of the night. I love what they're doing with Taya Valkyrie. Finally, with not shying away, put her and her husband together because they're fantastic together, right? They did this in AAA. They've done this sort of same shtick over in Japan. They've done it in TNA/Impact. Please give it to me. It's great. It's so much better than just kind of the vast nothingness that her character was at the beginning of her AEW run, right? It's just Taya Valkyrie. Now it's got that, that zhuzh to it. So I love that, and I love these two together. I always have, always will. Fantastic matches every time.
So I think the most important part was before the match, we got a Deonna Purrazzo. Well, it was before the Bang Bang Scissor Gang segment. We got a Deonna Purrazzo promo that was just exponentially better than her half of the live segment last week. I think they kind of basically retold what they were going for last week in a way that made a lot more sense. And it was a very good promo to let you know who Deonna Purrazzo is and where she's been and all that. The match itself, I didn't think it was like exceptional, but I did think it was the best presentation of women's wrestling AEW has done in a long time. You had Tony on commentary, but the actual, there wasn't a lot of run-in silly nonsense. There wasn't any of that. It was just very good women's wrestling for a decent amount of time.
Yep.
And it was good, kind of like I was saying earlier, if I was trying to get someone into AEW or pro wrestling, I might show them Hangman versus Tia Leona. I think if you were trying to get someone into the women's division or give them some hope going forward, this was a good match to do that.
And it was a good week for women's wrestling in general, because I don't know if you watched any other shows. I already made mention there was a Ruby Soho, Jay, they're trying more story. Hey, Ruby, they're doing more storylines. But Saturday, you had 2 women's matches on a show. Amazing, right? And one of them was Serena Deeb's return against Robin Renegade, which, short match, you knew the outcome, but it's nice to get her in there. She had to cut a little promo after. Super over with the crowd, right? Developing some stuff. But, Jamie, what did you think of the variation of her finisher in this one?
Oh, the double arm?
Well, she did the double arm, but not in the pure Venus de Milo way. Part of it's due to Taya's bendiness, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it looked disgusting.
It looked really good, though. If she could pull out other women, that'd be amazing. But
yeah, I mean, that's my thing. Like, it looked disgusting, so of course I was in on it, because any kind of submission that looks like it really effing hurts, like that's a submission for this guy. But no, I loved it. But let's go ahead and move on. I really don't care about the Bucks and Darby. Sorry, guys. Swerve versus Rob Van Dam in a hardcore match. And I was looking through the annals of AEW history, and I cannot find a time where they called a match a hardcore match up until this moment. They've done no DQ and used all these other things. They've not used the term hardcore.
Interesting.
I thought that was a great touch because I thought what they did in this match was what most people like consider classically hardcore wrestling. Like this was an ECW match.
Yep.
Like at ECW at its best match too. Like this is what you tuned into ECW for back in the day. Getting a returning Rob Van Dam in a hardcore match and Samoa Joe on commentary. They absolutely over-delivered for the who will Swerve's mystery opponent be. This entire show, pretty much from top to bottom, was just a fun night of wrestling. And this is what I want to see from 8:45 to 9:05 p.m. on my Wednesday night, is Swerve Strickland and Rob Van Dam throwing chairs and shit at each other.
I mean, you got all the hits, man. You got Van Daminator, you got Rolling Thunder, like you had the outside on the railing Van Daminator. Like the only thing we didn't get was a coast to coast, I don't think.
No, I don't know if he could do a coast to coast.
I don't think he could go coast to coast anymore.
I mean, he can still go, but that's a bit much.
No, like this had all the hits. It was awesome, and Swerve just never ceases to amaze me with how versatile. How versatile he is. He legit, to your point, like I was gonna call this an old-fashioned ECW, like 1996 Just Incredible going up against RVD. Like it had that kind of vibe, and I mean, except you had somebody way more talented than Just Incredible. No offense, Just Incredible, but you know what I'm saying. You know, it's the off chance he's watching us, but
you never know.
Yeah, I mean, if you are, like and subscribe. But this match had that vibe, and again, Swerve just nestled in, like he's done it like 1,000 times before, and like it was a 1996 ECW match. It was awesome.
Swerve's got the rare talent, something we've equated with John Moxley before, where he's adaptable to a variety of people he's wrestling, right?
Million, yeah.
He can go different styles, and he can make different people. He's made people we haven't assumed would look good. Rob Van doesn't need Swerve to make him look good. He's still got it, but he can go in and do an ECW match on the fly, literally a day after he got off of a cruise ship. So,
yeah, I think, and just to give Swerve even more credit, because we saw Mox and Jeff Hardy earlier, and we talked about Swerve and Jeff Hardy last week about being able to match anyone's pace. But what sets Swerve and Mox apart is that Mox, if he's wrestling a lucha or a faster guy, he's going to slow them down to his pace. And that's no discredit to Mox. Like Mox wrestling, like Mox should be slowing down, beating the shit out of a lucha. That's what you expect from the character. So it's not a bad thing. That's just how that works. Swerve can go move for move with any small, fast guy you want to throw out there. Swerve can also, in back-to-back weeks, take two guys that have had 30-year careers through very fun, entertaining TV matches. Again, Rob Van Dam is still miles ahead of where Jeff Hardy is in 2024. But even with RVD, you see he's just a little bit slower than he used to be, and that's just age. That happens. He can still go, by all means. But Swerve being able to pace them, but also being able to go out there with someone like, you could throw him out there with Vikingo, and he would never miss a step doing all the crazy lucha shit.
Oh, I would love to see Vikingo and Swerve. Give me that.
Swerve might be the best wrestler in the world right now.
I can argue that statement.
I can't.
Like, I don't think you could really pick one, but like the guys you're lumping in the conversation, Swerve is definitely there.
You put in a handful, because putting the guys together and giving them rankings is not really something that we do. It is something that AEW does now again, though.
Nice. Very well done, sir.
Thank you. This ain't my first rodeo. So,
what?
After the show, on them internets, because they didn't do it, they didn't reveal it on the show, right? It's coming after the show. So on the internet, they revealed the rankings, and it remains to be seen, Austin, if they're going to do what we hope they do, to do like once a month. Who knows? But we have them now, and we all have them in front of us, and we all have thoughts that we need to get to. So, Jamie, why don't you kind of take the men's first?
Okay. So they just put all the champions together. So Samoa Joe,
Yeah.
Our Father, the Patriarch, Christian Cage, International Champion, Orange Cassidy, and the Continental Crown Champion, Eddie Kingston. I guess that actually is a real championship now.
It's an actual belt.
I thought it wasn't going to be, but here we are. So the number one shocker, ladies and gentlemen, is Swerve Strickland.
What?
And second, also shocker, is Adam Hangman Page.
Man, it's almost like those two have like a number one contender match next week. Oh, wait.
What?
They do.
And then shocker right after that, because Christian Cage was named second, right? Adam Copeland is named. And then John Moxley's there, and then Roderick Strong is number 5. Interesting. Okay. So basically, everybody on here, other than Eddie and Moxley, are already in a feud.
Yeah. I
Talk
mean,
about an all-time letdown. It's all-time letdown. Oh, our rankings are coming out. Our rankings are going to match our storylines, and everybody's going to be surprised. Fuck you.
What are you looking for? You looking for like a Wardlow pop in out of nowhere, or like Hook
He's undefeated.
In there?
No, like Wardlow's undefeated in the year of our Lord 2024. To quote one Austin Reddick, because he loves to say the year of our Lord. No, he's undefeated. You have other gentlemen that are undefeated as well. Yet you have Copeland, who's only wrestled how many times in 2024? 2? As your number 3 guy? And Mr. Wardlow has wrestled 4 times?
Yeah.
Like, this makes 0 sense. These rankings are bogus. Like, I understand that Cornelius Multi-Pass Punk is the one who wanted to get rid of him, but you bring him back like this?
And they don't have any they don't have any records associated this time either, too, by the way. It's just straight rankings.
I like the records not necessarily being listed with the rankings, because as an avid follower of the National Basketball Association, ESPN releases power rankings every Monday, and the records are there, but it's not always linear to the record. It's who's doing what, who's trending, who's moving up, who's moving down. I gotta disagree with you a bit, Jamie. I think releasing your first rankings and it being in line with what's pretty much currently going on, you're building up for the title matches at your pay-per-view, makes a lot of sense. We're still a month out, so you could have had some fluctuation in there. But I think you got to start somewhere. We're also only 1 month into 2024. There's been enough to start getting an idea, but yeah, the guys that are trending towards the titles have largely been getting wins on TV. So why wouldn't they largely be the top 5 your guys? Roderick Strong at 5, I think that should have been Wardlow. I understand Roderick Strong's getting the international shot. Mm-hmm. But you are the whole Undisputed Kingdom gimmick with Adam Cole and Wardlow is Adam Cole is telling you this is a future world champion. We've seen him squashing people. We just saw him go in a little bit longer match. I would have liked to see him at 5, and you could even have the Undisputed Kingdom like still getting Roddy his shot at the pay-per-view. You're building that anyway, but you're putting some steam behind Wardlow. Put him in there at the 5 spot. Like, out of everyone on your list above that, they're kind of going somewhere at the pay-per-view anyway. Have Wardlow's motivation for the next few weeks be to keep that number 5 spot and stay in contention and have them wrestle slightly better guys as time goes on, trying to hold on to it. It's a starting point. I think it's too early to make a really strong judgment one way or the other. We got to see how often they update, how people move, but I don't hate it.
I'm of the opinion these are very similar to those beginning of the season or preseason, AP poll, right? Ohio State's going to be in the top 3 every time. Notre Dame's going to be in the top 5. Who's on their team? Doesn't matter. So Ohio State and Notre Dame, they're going to be up there, right? That's how it goes, right? Roddy is the one that got me a little bit. I agree with Austin. Should have been Wardlow. I wouldn't have been surprised they put Danielson there. I know he has a loss. But I'm just saying. Well, I wouldn't be surprised because it's a lot of name recognition. So,
well, I would agree with what you're saying on the AP poll thing, but the tag team division part.
Oh, we're going to get to that one in a second.
Because it completely kiboshes what you just said.
I'm just talking about the men's. We're only talking about the men's right now. So
that was strictly limited to the men's.
No. There's plenty of talk on tag and trio. So let's get the women's. Let's go over the women's real fast here because you got Thomas, Toni Storm, Julia Hart, right? I'm very happy, by the way, they didn't include any ROH belts on here because I feel like sometimes they blur that line a little too much, right? I'm glad they didn't do that. Contenders are as such. Number 1, Deonna Purrazzo. Okay. Number 2, Thunder Rosa. Number 3, Hikaru Shida.
Who hasn't wrestled in January?
Who has not wrestled this year, which is, yes, I know. Because number 4 is...
Dude, I can't.
4 is Sky Blue. Austin Reddick's favorite female wrestler. And number 5 is Mariah May. These are very much, again, when we talked about preseason ranking, because, yeah, Shida hasn't wrestled. Thunder Rosa's had 1 singles match. To be fair, Sky Blue's wrestled like 8 matches already this year. Okay,
he lost most of them.
She lost most of them.
She lost most of them. Mariah May's wrestled 2 matches, 2-0. I don't know what these words mean.
Yeah, this women's one, they just threw names on there. I feel like they had like a dartboard and they threw darts and said, "Oh, this is where this person's going." They go. They knew Deonna was 1, and after that, it was darts.
Deonna has a legitimate chance. She's undefeated. She's wrestled like 4, like how many matches she wrestled?
2, 3.
Oh, I thought she wrestled more than that. She's had 3 matches though. I mean, Thunder Rosa's
Mariah's
had
2.
1 single. Mariah's had 2 single. Shida hasn't wrestled.
Well, Shida's been over in Japan, so maybe that's the rub.
Why is she on 3? Why is she number 3 then?
Well, why is Sky Blue even on the damn list?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Why isn't Chris Statlander or
Willow Nightingale?
Willow or Naya? Not Naya. But like Nyla. Thank you.
The biggest swing and a miss here, and 3 and 4 are just as inexcusable as something like this could be. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Not like hot about it, but 3 and 4 completely mailed in. Sky Blue, you heated her up for a shot at Julia's title. She lost. She joined with Julia. You just released a new shirt for them, which is actually pretty dope, by the way, even though it's another black one. But it's a cool design. Sky Blue is coming nowhere near a title anytime soon, has no business on these rankings. And that's not me being a hater. That's the story you have told me with Sky Blue in this calendar year so far.
Absolutely.
The biggest miss, I understand throwing Shida on there, but she hasn't been active. Statlander or Willow should be on there. And I think putting one of them on there and leaving the other helps move along your storyline with the both of them and Stokely Hathaway. Like, you can get some conflict there, and that's some good storytelling. Number 4 should be Taya Valkyrie. You just gave her a featured match against your number 1 ranking person. I can see Deonna's name right there. Taya just went 10 to 12 minutes in a very competitive match with her. Why is she behind Sky Blue, who has lost many times already, or Shida, who has not wrestled this year for you? Like, this was a missed opportunity. If you're going to take these rankings seriously and have them as something to better inform your audience on your show, you could have made, I don't want to say made a star. We know who Taya Valkyrie is, but you could have really put the emphasis on making her important on your show going forward by throwing her at number 4 on these rankings after her showing tonight.
Not wrong.
Speaking of, I don't even want to say speaking of missed opportunities, but speaking of some weird angles, do you want to do the tag? You want to do the tag in the 3-way together, or do you want to?
Yeah, because they don't make any kind of sense. Either one of them makes zero. And I want to make sure everybody hears this. 0 sense.
So,
and you can find these on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen.
You can find us on Twitter. It's going to be on AEW's website too, probably in a short order. Your tag team rankings are as such. Okay, you've got Ricky Starks and Big Bill, of course, right? Okay. Your top 5 contenders are Sting and Darby Allin as 1. Okay, we get that, right? John Silver and Alex Reynolds is 2. Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli is 3. Private Party at 4. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta at 5. Okay, and then for the trios, you got the Claim Daddy as your trios champions. Your number 1 contenders, I actually kind of like Bullet Club Gold, right? They're the ROH 6-man champions, right? This isn't ROH. This is AEW, right? So that's number 1. Then you got the Hardys and Mark Briscoe at number 2. Dark Order at 3. Yes, I've made mention of Dark Order just a few seconds ago. I know. FTR and Daniel Garcia at 4. House of Black at 5. By the way, that cage match was awesome on Saturday.
That was real good.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you want to break this apart, guys? Because this tag team, I mean, the trios match, Hardy's and Mark Briscoe, that's a little confusing. But it also feels like I don't think they know what they're doing trios wise. It's just kind of mishmash together. The tag list, I don't understand for shit.
I don't understand both lists as a whole. Why are FTR and Daniel Garcia listed as a trios? They united for that specific match. They are not a trio. FTR is one of the best tag teams of all time. They should be in your tag team rankings, which, by the way, I'm staring at the tag team rankings right now. I see 6 total listings, including a champion and 5 contenders. 1 actual tag team name that's not just 2 guys' names with an ampersand in between them. Just looking that, and if you think of these rankings as a snapshot of any given division, woof. Your tag division needs some help and some work. Now, I think the tag division's healthier than these rankings make it seem like. Mm-hmm. But again, if these are an important part of your show, take them seriously and put some thought into this shit.
And for what it's worth, you don't have the Young Bucks have wrestled, right? You don't have a healthy Lucha Brothers. Phoenix is close, but he's not healthy, right? You got Trent Beretta with Orange Cassidy, which makes no sense, but Trent and Chuck Taylor, best friends, I could see in there. Cool, right?
But they haven't wrestled. So.
They haven't wrestled because he's not healthy. So,
but Sheeta's on the women's and she hasn't wrestled. Just saying.
I mean, I know. I don't get it.
So,
I don't get it.
Kind of going back to what I was saying about the women's division and just swinging into the miss as a way to work this into your TV show. You have the Young Bucks doing the kind of shitty executive angle.
Yeah.
And as I was saying last week, I've got optimism if they play it right. I don't want to see them going full on McMahon-Helmsley regime and abusing their power. I want them strategically abusing it in small, not super important ways. The Young Bucks should have been 5 on this list. And then you've got about a month until Revolution when Sting and Darby inevitably beat Starks and Big Bill for the tag titles next week. You can have the Bucks book themselves in favorable matchups to beat the teams in between to get to Revolution to have Sting's last. Like, you have a story there. That's not just, well, we want to wrestle you, which is a fine reason to wrestle, but at least that's something to do with these rankings in your division, because right now it's just names on a piece of paper.
Yeah, so at first I was like, okay, so the Dark Order's over on the trios. Okay, I get that because it is technically a trio.
Right.
But then you look over on the tag teams, you see Reynolds and Silver, who are a part of the Dark Order. Yet
So
you don't see FTR on the tag team side, but you see him on the trio side. And if we're doing this power pole thing that they've done on the men, especially on the men's side, why would FTR not be at minimum number 2 on any list at any time if you're just doing a power ranking? Like, that makes zero sense. Private Party needs to be higher because they've been showing out lately.
Top Flight's got no love. Top Flight's been featured a lot lately.
Yeah, like I get that you want to make sure Bryan Danielson is on your list somewhere, but like, come on. And House of Black being 5 is just shameful.
Right.
Yeah.
They did just lose a trios match, though, technically.
Yeah.
For what
Okay. Okay. Well, I thought
doesn't matter to me. No, you're
Sky
right.
Blue's on there, and her record's like 1-7, but
Yeah.
she's number 4.
I know.
Not a great first showing for the rankings, but
We'll see where they go with this. Again, how
let the story play out.
And are these rankings going to actually matter, or is it going to be just an extension of storylines, which is what it feels like it's probably going to be, which is fine too, if that's what it's going to be. Just don't put too much. They built it for these past few weeks, especially on the men's, mostly on the men's singles side is really where they've been focused on it, to be fair, okay?
Yeah.
But they built the Samoa Joe story arc hard with this rankings matter shtick. So
I would really like to see the men's and the women's rankings expanded to 10 slots.
okay, I'm with that.
And then I would like to see the primary function of the rankings to do kind of what the Continental Classic did for you through the entire month of December. Just give you some context and a reason for some random dope matches you throw on TV. If you've got a little bit deeper rankings, like if you're limiting it to 5, a lot of those guys can't take a loss. But it's like I like to watch the UFC, and you get a random fight night on the weekend, and the number 15 guys fight the number 8 guy because he wants to move up and move on to better opportunities. It just gives you a little bit more context for some matches you can throw out there on random TV to make it seem like everything has a purpose. So yeah, I think it'd be good if they expanded to 10, and then at least once a week on each show, you get a match that's for a ranking. Someone that's either out of the rankings or lower in the rankings is literally wrestling for a spot.
I'm with it. Tony,
Hopefully Tony's listening this week.
Do it, Tony.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Speaking of disappointments, are we moving on to the Fed?
Okay, yeah, well. That's a segue, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you thought I did a good job? No, that's a segue.
That was a perfect segue. Yeah, let's do a little
Fed
Fed
talk.
talk.
You lobbed it. I had to spike it.
I came in all elegant, like I was like a Porsche 911 GT3 coming around the curve, just like smoothly this and that. And you're just that F-150 rapper, just
Tokyo drifting over here, man.
Yeah, the right-hand drives. All right. So, Fed talk, gentlemen. Before we get into the festivities that were the Royal Rumble, which overall I have positive things to say, why don't we just go ahead and just smack that damn elephant right in the face right now and talk about the piece of shit, plural, pieces of shit, that just recently got a giant lawsuit up against them.
So,
I love the long exhale because we all know how we feel about
I have
this.
so many things to say about this. Okay, A, are we surprised? No. Stories like this have been around Vincent Kennedy McMahon for decades, right? Does this surprise anybody? No. Did the details as they were revealed from this lawsuit hit me a little harder because they were so detailed this time? Yes. I mean, grooming, just the whole thing. And if you haven't read it, you can go on Twitter and you can figure it out, right? I'm not going to get specifics about that. It's pending legal, whatever, but it was all revealed, and some of it was shocking, even compared knowing that I know his history, right? Some of the stuff. I did not have defecating on somebody's head in the middle of a threesome on my bingo card for anything. And yet here we are, right?
Yeah. Like literally Heather talked about that. It's like the coprophilia, Dutch Mantel talking about it too. Like,
yeah.
The 2024's wrestling bingo card is wild. Like that's all there is to it. Like to her point.
January.
Yeah.
It is still, as of this recording, it is still January, ladies and gentlemen. Here, at least here in this. No, it's still January everywhere in America. Yeah.
I mean, before I give the floor to Austin. I will say this: there were some positives that came out of this. So Vince had to completely resign from WWE and TKO. So he's no longer there. That is huge. That was a big piece there for me. Kevin Dunn's gone because rumor has it he had wind of what was coming. And you are going to see a lot of the cronies going away because Ronda Rousey also said while Vince was away, Bruce Pritchard was at play with whatever Vince wanted to have happen. And I feel like that mother is going to go away too. And I know we've seen wrestling scandals before, and most of the time you want to give people a second chance and everything like that, but I would be totally okay if they publicly castrated Vince McMahon and tore his nails, like his fingernails off one by one, like completely tortured him, emasculated him, did everything they possibly could, because that man is evil and has no business being on this earth, in my opinion.
And we could turn back to you in a second, Austin, but I will say it is somewhat welcoming the thought that Ari, the CEO of TKO, his daughter works at AEW. And when he was asked about it, he was giving a very PC answer on a lot of stuff. But he did kind of let slip a little bit, about how they're investigating it. And, someone close to the matter said, do you think that this man whose daughter works in the building where this apparently happened is going to take any... He's like, no, it's apparently the hammer is going to cometh is what the indication was. And I hope to God it does. Because the people that are there at WWE and trying to make it good, I'm all the Triple H and all those hard people working, you've got great people that come over from other companies that we've talked about in the past that we're big fans of, working behind the scenes, don't need this happening. Don't need this hanging around them. So I hope they do clean the rest of the house out. Austin, floor is yours.
Yeah.
Buddy. Tear into it.
So first off, I'm kind of glad this story dropped the day after we did this podcast last week. So there was, we didn't have to do the immediate reactions, and it'll likely just results in us speaking less about it in general, which at the end of the day, this is just some of the most terrible shit you could ever read about. I hope that everybody from the pre-sale guard is just gone. Clean house. Get rid of them all. This shit went on for decades. And it was shared around Twitter again earlier today, but it's come up from time to time, the Glassdoor reviews from former WWE employees. Even the corporate environment is fucking terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And I think seeing what Tony Khan has done with AEW in the last few years, should convince the people in charge at TKO and Ari that anybody with half a brain could make this shit good and put on a good, entertaining pro wrestling TV product. You just have to take it seriously, not make the product super seriously, but understand you're there to entertain, putting out an entertaining product. I think for the longest time, because Vince McMahon is so ingrained in pro wrestling history, there's this weird association that you just think you can't have pro wrestling without Vince McMahon.
Right.
Or that nobody else in similar circumstances could have made the WWE what it is today. We had another company in WCW that was way more popular for 84 straight weeks, as I've been reminded many times over the decades. And then at the end of the day, TV tastes changed, and there really wasn't room for another product. But we could very easily, you go back to the Montreal Screwjob and where Vince offered Brett this huge contract and immediately realized he couldn't fulfill it. Business was that bad. We could be living in a reality where WWE was bought out 20 years ago. And kind of go into what you were saying, Jamie, about, a potential positive out of this. Not that you really want to look for positives in something this fucking awful. I think a WWE going forward with absolutely zero trace of the people that have been running it for the last few decades could be very good for pro wrestling. It's time to just change what they do. And like I said, Tony Khan has shown you can do just about anything in wrestling. If it's good and entertaining, it's going to be good and entertaining, and people are going to tune in. We are beyond the need for Vince McMahon. We are beyond the need for Triple H. We are beyond the need for anyone that has been there forever. There's plenty of older talent out there that could easily be your producers and agents. And I'm not saying I want anyone that literally had no part in any of this to lose their job or anything like that. But very clearly, there's no way this shit's been happening for decades, because it's not just this settlement. I think they found Vincent paid out like $17 million in settlements for this kind of shit. You don't work in that company and not know what's going on. I saw someone bring up a really good point that this could potentially have to do with why Shane McMahon left the company largely 15 years ago or wherever it was to go do other stuff. He wasn't on board with the shit his dad was doing. But it's time to move on from the McMahons, from everyone involved with them. The company as exists now still has a lot of holdovers, but it was bought out by another company. It's a chance to be completely different as a corporate structure. Obviously, the product will be what it is, and you're not going to ignore the history and all that and just rebrand to something else. But it's time to clean house and start over.
Nice. Hey, welcome to the chat, Charles, and a positive there. But
from Nassau, god damn you!
I know.
Down paradise, son of a bitch. No, welcome.
Yeah.
We're in the Midwest
terrible.
where it's warmed up but still kind of cold.
Yeah, we got a heat wave. We hit like in the 50s, but like 3 weeks ago we were at -5 as a high. So yeah, I'm super jealous.
So with all that being said, it's very interesting coming around the time that it did, because that was a week, days before one of the signature WWE pay-per-views. Now we'll see what happens. No, this is not a legal like a state court of anything. Is a lawsuit in civil court that's going through with this. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about like instant it's none of our business, that part. What's out there is out there. We'll see what happens. The good thing is he's no longer there. Hopefully they get rid of more, and we got plenty of wrestling to look forward to, like the Royal Rumble.
Hey, before you get there, I just have one last thing to say.
Yeah, no, sorry. Go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's easy. Fuck Vince. Fuck Johnny Ace. Fuck Brock Lesnar. Okay, I'm good now.
And Bruce Pritchard, because always fuck Bruce Pritchard.
Yes. 75 degrees. That sounds terrible, Charles. Sounds absolutely like, how do you live like that, man?
We gotta do an episode live from the Bahamas.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah, that's what we got. All right, it's on. Let's do it. All right. Royal Rumble happened. As you know, we have a title here that we like to exchange around. We make picks on. It's not on your shoulder because you are not the current champion there.
I'm not.
It is on Mr. Austin Reddick's shoulder for being the champion. He had won the last World's End. He had won that title, and now it's up for grabs again, ladies and gentlemen. We got picks. I got them in front of me here. Jamie, myself, Austin, and Jamie's second oldest daughter, Megan, who used to be damn near unbeatable lately.
Yeah. Then she got older.
Yeah, then she hit puberty, and it's like, you know.
Well, no, she was still wrecking your shit at 14 years old. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Like, you were getting dominated by my 14-year-old. Yeah, I'd put that down too, because she had all the belts.
She beat the shit out of you too. I just want to make very clear. She beat the shit out of all of us for years.
Hey,
okay.
The student has become the master.
That being said, we have our picks in here. Here is how we decided to do the scoring. So there's only 4 matches of Royal Rumble. You got two Royal Rumble matches, men's and women's, and you had 2 other matches. Okay. So we said pick 4 for your final 4 for each of the Rumbles. Each one of those is worth a point, and then pick a winner of each Royal Rumble. That's worth a point as well. So it ended up being about the same number of points available as it is on a usually AEW pay-per-view, about 12 or 13, right? Give or take, something like that. Tiebreaker was the men's Rumble. We did time for that. So let's get out of the way first the 2 other matches. The 4-way was fucking awesome. I don't care. That match. I loved that match. I thought that match was great. Okay, even though I knew Roman was going to win the whole time. I love seeing. I thought it was great. I thought AJ was fantastic. I liked, Orton was great. I liked that match.
Mm-hmm. I hated that match for one reason. I thought the match itself was very good, very enjoyable. It was a 4-way. You do not need a solo Sikoa interference.
No.
That's true.
I mean, I would like if Roman Reigns occasionally just beat people in the first place.
That's not going to happen.
The solo interference killed it for me. And I was looking forward to this match. I was like, cool, 4-way. Roman can cleanly beat someone in a 4-way, and it makes sense and all that. Again, he should be able to cleanly beat most of the roster, but they always have him have help. The solo interference, it was just Charlie Brown kicking the football. They're just running the same thing every time. And the thing that annoyed me more is they showed me in the video package to put this match together, Nick Aldis looking at Paul Heyman being like, your client just got himself a 4-way match at the Rumble. While you're swinging your authority over there, bro, you want to ban Solo from ringside or something? Like, do you not watch the product? Because this shit happens every time. Every single time. That aside, the match was real fun. But yeah, that killed it for me.
I knew Roman was winning. I knew he wasn't going to win clean. I went into the match with those assumptions because I knew that was going to happen, and that's why I enjoyed the piss out of this match, because I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the match because I know what's going to happen.
Everybody hitting their finisher was everybody hitting a finisher.
Every guy's your finisher. So but we all picked Roman because
we're not dumb.
We're not.
Roman always goes over.
Yeah.
And then we all picked Logan Paul to retain against Kevin Owens. That did happen as well. That match was okay.
Fun fact about that: Kevin Owens is wrestling with a fractured foot.
No shit.
Yeah. That explained a lot because I thought that movie. I thought that match was just slow.
Yeah,
and it made a lot of sense now. Makes a lot of sense.
It was slow, but I thought it was what you expect from Logan Paul and what we've seen of him so far. I thought the finish was one of the best things I've seen in pro wrestling in recent memory.
I liked how they did that. Yes.
It was so perfectly executed for such an old school finish, and that's the shit that just hits me right here is good old school finishes.
Yep.
I don't remember the referee's name. I know I see him on their TV all the time. I just don't have his name handy. But just a tip of the cap to that gentleman. His timing on that was so good. It bought you into thinking Kevin Owens was for sure winning that match. And at the last second pointing out the knucks. That was... It was kind of the inverse of the 4-way. The rest of the match was fine. Not great, but the finish was phenomenal.
That finish was great. I agree.
We all got Logan Paul. We all got that right. So let's just talk about the women's rumble, then the men's. We'll talk about the women's because that was open the night, right? We'll go over just FYI. Our picks were as such. Austin had Bayley, Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, and Jade Cargill. I had Bayley, Jade Cargill, Becky Lynch, and Raquel Rodriguez. Megan, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, Bayley, and Nia Jax. Jamie had Bayley, Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, and Jade Cargill. So, what did you guys think of the women's rumble overall? Personally, I like the women's better than the men's.
I enjoyed the hell out of the women's. I love the fact that Naomi was back. No big shocker there. And they had her come out nice and early. So she got the big pop, got to do her thing. It was really nice. I was a little bit kind of slighted, I guess, on the surprises. I feel like that was a theme. Like I was expecting more of the older guard to be there, or just somebody a little different. But Bayley was phenomenal. I thought personally the packaging that they did for Jade Cargill was perfect. Like AEW knew they had a gold mine in her, but didn't really know how to use her that well. Well, she got a whole lot of training, and then they did little things with her that made her really good. Like her and Nia going head to head, and then the one I really want to see more than anything now is her and Bianca go head to head. Like,
oh yeah,
or become a team. They become mega powers. Actually, that's being retired now because again,
Fake.
F him. But
another win.
No, I just personally feel like they did a really good job with that. And I love the finish too. It was solid.
Go ahead, JJ.
No, I agree with you. I think there was more surprises though in here than we had of that because we had a lot of returning. So you had Naomi coming back on free agency, right? You had Liv Morgan at 30, which I almost put Liv down as one of mine. And then I was like, I don't know if she's healthy or not. But I like seeing her back. Of course, I'm going to talk about this. I loved seeing Jordan Grace getting a little nod.
Mm-hmm.
WWE has been friendly with TNA/Impact in the past few years, and I like that. Triple H has said that they're going to play nice with others, except for AEW. He didn't say that last part, but So I like that. It's a good nod. It doesn't hurt them at all. Let's be honest. Jordan Grace, we all can see her in a WWE ring within the next couple years anyway, right? I mean, she fits kind of what WWE would let her have. They got good spot for her. She got a good pop at a major WWE pay-per-view. Like her and Naomi going at it shows you that these people watch, and it shows the WWE more. It shows them that, hey, these people do watch other wrestling other than us, right? They appreciate that. Plus, you got to get cool stuff like her and Ivy Nile facing off each other and doing the side-by-side power slams. I dug that. And then, yeah, you're right. Jade Cargill did perfect job of putting her where she needed to be. And I feel like the whole women's rumble I felt had a better flow, had a better kind of stories built into it than the men did. And I still like the men's Royal Rumble enough, but that was my take on it. Austin?
Yeah, so when we first jumped into this, JJ, you threw out that you enjoyed the women's rumble more in kind of testing the waters on a hot take kind of way. I'm going to say that shit with my full chest. The women's rumble was significantly better than the men's rumble. Not only that, and we'll get to the men's rumble because I don't think it was terrible by any means.
No.
I think the women's rumble was up there with the best rumble matches of all time. And this is coming from somebody who has watched every rumble match from 1988 through 2020 this month. So I've seen them all. I thought that was... A lot of times they will mail in the Rumble matches because you're going to get excited either way because it's the Rumble, but they're very hit or miss. There's a few great ones. There's some pretty good ones, and there's a lot of just kind of meh ones. this was up there with the greatest Rumble matches they've had. It's not gonna beat 1992. It's not gonna beat Stone Cold cheating to win in 97. I don't think you necessarily got iconic moments that are gonna live on in WWE history, but as a bell-to-bell Rumble match, this was perfectly booked. The Jordan Grace surprise was phenomenal. And I don't think you needed a ton of surprises because you knew Jade was coming later. And she wasn't really a surprise, like wasn't confirmed, but we kind of knew.
Yeah.
You didn't need surprises for the sake of surprises. You got to showcase a lot of your women's division. We all thought Becky Lynch was going to be one of the last four, and she just got her ass eliminated. Like, that's a surprise. It's not an entrance surprise, but that was surprising. I don't have enough good things to say about this Rumble match. That was the most entertaining part of the entire night for me by far.
Would you say best women's Royal Rumble of all time then, easily? Is what you're making it sound like. Okay.
Yeah, that without hesitation.
I can't think of one that was, I mean, all in all, it's just nothing was bad in the match, you know? Nia came out, got good heat too. She gets the good heat, squashing people left and right, and you set it perfectly with Jade. It was good. So
you got the R-Truth segment.
R-Truth was great.
Coming out during the Women's Rumble.
Where's the men at?
And that's why it was so perfectly booked too, because the high points of the match were spaced and paced perfectly throughout it. That you'd get something fun, you'd get a little dip. You'd get something fun, you get a little dip. And the thread of Bayley being out there at number 3 and surviving all of that nonsense to win it at the end. Bayley got that Flair 92 moment in the Rumble.
Yep. So, the final four ended up being Jade Cargill, Bayley, Liv Morgan, and either Tiffany Stratton or Bianca Belair. They were pretty close to being eliminated at the same time. I think it was Bianca, just barely. I
think Bianca landed on top of Tiffany Stratton.
It doesn't matter because none of us picked either one of them, so it don't matter who the fourth one was. So it ended up being that Megan got a point and we all got 2 points because we all picked Bayley. And the three of us picked Jade Cargill, and that's where we all ended up. Now, the winner was a point for the three of us once again, because we all picked Bayley, and Megan picked Becky Lynch. Okay? So.
Really quick, just on the winner thing, going back to how good this was, I'm going to throw one last compliment in there. We all picked Bayley. We all knew it was Bayley. But when it got down to those final three, you thought they might throw a curveball out there and get one of these to go wrestle Rhea at Mania. Like,
I was thinking Liv.
Excellent job.
I thought Liv's going to get her moment finally. She's going to get the pop. Watch. But no. Now, the men's Rumble into the night. Okay. So, for the men's Rumble, you had we all picked the three of them. We all picked two of them. We all picked CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. Okay. The three of us also picked Gunther. Megan went with R-Truth and The Rock. Obviously going fan fiction here, apparently. Swinging for the fences.
She thought it'd be hilarious. She just put R-Truth because she thought it'd be hilarious that, like, if he hid under the ring like the old Miz trope.
Santino did it.
You often have like that fourth of the final four is somebody random, which is why the women, we all picked some random people, right? You know, Raquel Rodriguez wasn't even in the damn thing, and I picked her. AJ Lee, right? You know, you never know. But
I thought Raquel was a strong, unless she was hurt. Her and Liv both. I really thought about putting in there, thinking they might come back.
Yeah, you get the handful you know is going to be there, right? You know, more than likely. And then, so for the fourth one, Jamie picked Solo. Austin and myself went with Jey Uso. Okay.
Which I got screwed. As soon as I saw him in that other match, I was like, damn it, he's not going to show up.
He was not in the Royal Rumble. No, sir.
At all.
So, not a lot of surprises in this one. You had, and even the surprises weren't really surprises. You had Andrade returning. Everybody under the sun knew that was happening, right? You know? But it was nice to see him back, right? You know, I did like the little moment with him and Santos Escobar, a little, you know, it's like, hey, we're bros. Like, no, we're not, you know. So you had Pat McAfee, who was on commentary. He's now on Raw commentary every week, but he was a surprise interest. Had a nice little funny bit because Omos was in the ring, right? And he actually is going to climb in. He gets in the ring and he climbs out of the ring and he's like, "No, I'm going to get back in." "No, I'm not." And he goes, "That guy's too big. F that," right? So, yeah, a little comedy moment there with Pat. That's about it, though. There wasn't no surprise. You had no Okada show up, right? You had, in the women's match, you had no Sasha Banks. You had no Julia. You had no big anybody coming in. So you had some NXT people that were going to be in WWE in the main roster anyway. You know, Braun Breaker was in there. He had a good showing.
He replaced Lesnar.
Oh, is he okay. I know there was a replacement for Lesnar. I thought that might have been the Pat McAfee is what it was, because I heard Pat McAfee didn't know he was going in until they announced him. So
I call bullshit on that.
I do
same.
too. I think that's bullshit.
Big time same.
Bullshit. So, not a real shocker surprise with anybody. Honestly, the men's kind of went according to what you would expect, as my opinion.
Yeah, the men's was the old trope of this meeting could have been email. This could have been an hour of Raw. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, it was a Rumble, and the Rumble by nature is always going to be fun while you're watching it because of all the entrances and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, this was not, it wasn't anything special. Nothing particularly cool or exciting happened. It went pretty close to what you expected, but the worst part was you start with Jimmy and Jey Uso, a rumored Mania match, and one that makes a lot of sense and would be a good addition to your Mania card. And after the third guy runs out, I don't know if they ever touched each other again or ever went back to it. The Pat McAfee thing, it was a waste of a spot. We've seen Pat McAfee show up in the Rumble before. We've done the commentator in the Rumble before.
Yep.
Get anyone else on your roster out there or throw Wade Barrett out there. Like, there's just better options than to waste. And I know they had to scramble last minute. They wanted Brock in there. I thought it was better without Brock in there. I thought Braun Breaker got himself over with the main roster audience there for a little while.
I'm coming around to Braun. I really am.
Give me, if you're not putting him in a world title match, give me Braun Breaker and Gunther at WrestleMania.
Ooh. Yes.
Or
Yes.
on a random Raw, give me Braun Breaker and Chad Gable.
Oh my God.
Like,
that'd be great.
But I enjoyed Braun Breaker's spot in there, but you could tell it wasn't there to feature him because he had his cool little moment, and then he just gets tossed by Dominic Mysterio because that was what was supposed to happen to Brock. So yeah, it was a real dud of a Rumble match. It's still fun while you watch, but you also, your last couple, you had Drew, you had Sammy, guys that have been around top guys for a little while, but they're not winning. They're not winning. And anytime those last couple entrants, they're not really guys you think have a chance at winning, it takes the wind out of the sails.
Yeah, and it's funny. I called like Megan and I we were watching it, and I said, "Hey, crumbly material Punk is going to be coming out at 24," and he came out. So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna win this thing! I'm gonna win this thing!" Like I got really excited.
More
yeah.
Royal Rumble winners at 24 than any other spot.
Exactly. But yeah, crumbly material Punk.
So it
Well, we'll say
came
he's
down
fragile.
to CM Punk and Cody Rhodes.
The roller coaster.
And that final two lasted a decent amount of time. Honestly,
An additional 10 minutes. I was timing it. I was pissed.
Because as it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, we are at this point. The final four of the men were Punk, Rhodes, Gunther, and McIntyre. So we all get 3. And shocker, we got a 3-way tie going on here. So when it comes to the winner, okay, when it comes to the winner, Austin picked Gunther. Myself and Jamie both picked CM Punk. Okay. So Gunther got eliminated, but Austin's not out of it. So it came down Punk and Rhodes. If Rhodes wins, it's a 3-way tie. If Punk wins, it's a 2-way tie. So we do have the times up, okay? It went on a good amount of time, and for you it was not good because Jamie selected. So, okay, Austin, he had 1 hour, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. I had 1 hour, 9 minutes, 33 seconds. Megan's eliminated. She had a $1:05 on the dot. And Jamie had 58 minutes and 28 seconds.
Which was an error.
And that sucks. Because if they would not have gone as long, you would have probably won this sucker, Jamie. But it went a full 10 minutes longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
Rhodes is getting to finish his story. Punk tears his tricep. Inconsequential. I don't think it's winning anyway. Cody Rhodes wins. 1 hour. Whoever's keeping time, put it in here. 1 hour, 8 minutes, 12 seconds. I am the closest to it. 1 minute, 21 seconds away. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce your brand new champion.
By like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
a little bit, but
Win's a win.
If we were doing the prices right, he'd still have it. I'm just saying.
I feel like we voted on that on live internet, and the vote was 2-1 against Price is Right. So
And here I am yet again rubbing it. This is even better because I don't have skin in this game for once. It does, like, you lost when you could have easily voted to have it.
yeah, I officially
Right.
retract all previous statements on the Price is Right rule, and I want it fully inactive, backdated to Saturday.
Well, as you see, you no longer are the champion. So
I'm calling Jack Tunney about this.
your champion will take that under advisement. But boom, the physical belt is still with Austin. Will be in my possession soon enough. The virtual belt is here. I is your champion.
I will give you a round of applause for winning the title before Ruby Soho.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
We all knew
And
that
you
was
will be
gonna happen.
losing it. You're going to lose it before.
We'll see.
Just-
We got
Dude,
about
defeated.
a month.
You are defeated in AEW. You are defeated in AEW. You only win WWE shit.
Yeah, this is the Rumble. It's an unsanctioned match, so the title can't change hands.
Oh no, this was your idea to do this match. We were gonna wait till Revolution because we always just did the title on AEW pay-per-views, right? And you wanted to do the Rumble, so
This is what I get for being a Seth champion instead of a Roman champion.
well, I think the thing is you leaned too hard into the Roman angle too early, right?
I
You
did.
leaned way hard in it way early. You got to ease into it, and then once you've established it for a few of them, that's when you lay it down,
That's
right?
all right. Roman's first reign wasn't 40 years. It took a time or two.
Hey,
Yeah.
to Jamie's point, we do this again in a month, and my record is not fantastic in AEW pay-per-views, so I'll probably be going to the post office, but who knows? We don't know.
No,
I just know that
you
I
won't
am
be
your
going to the
champion.
post office. You won't be going to the post office. You'll just be bringing it to me.
Okay,
Because
all right.
the baby's coming home. Baby's coming home.
Well,
You
it's
can
coming
write
home.
that down.
It's coming home to me next, so...
I'm the most decorated champion we have ever had.
But not your current champion. Your current champion is this guy.
It should still be Austin. He's part of the FWO. So
I'm gonna do
Unfortunately,
the
It's not.
I'm gonna do the
didn't even-
Shawn Michaels IC title angle and get my own title made and claim myself the rightful champion.
The funniest thing, chat, is that because usually JJ is the one that keeps a hold and keeps the record while he's watching the pay-per-view, right? You know, because I do all the tech work for the podcast, right? JJ had prior engagement, so he wasn't watching the Rumble live. Told these guys no spoilers. I came back, watched the Rumble later, and after the Rumble was done, I went into the online thing to fill it out and see who won. And it's already been taken care of. And they had already anointed me as the champion in there. So all this bickering, it's all bullshit. 100% bullshit. This is a fucking work. I'm a champion. They both are happy for me. It's the
I
truth.
am.
It's fantastic.
But Well, then fine. I will also talk about how my time was a complete error because I thought I put 68 minutes. And then I looked in there and it said 58. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to change it because that's a dick move. And yeah, so there you go.
So they
Sometimes
announced at the beginning of the women's rumble that it was 90-second entrance. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, my time's going to be way too high for the men's rumble. But I think they expanded to 2 minutes for the men's.
Yeah, so the men's, it was hilarious.
Did they do that? Did they do 2 minutes for the men and a minute 30 for the women?
No, the 90 seconds was 100% bullshit. So, like, Jay and Jimmy started off, right? The next entrant came in at 1 minute and 58 seconds. And the next entrant after that came in at 1:26. And then the next entrant after that came in at like 1:10. Like they were coming in quick. The times were all over the place. Like that 90-second thing is a work. And
100%
Oh yeah, they had to cut some time to get out of there under 4 hours, and they knew the end of it was going to go a bit. So
well, they know that the people in the arena aren't sitting there with stopwatches going, all right.
and if you book it well, you don't even notice. Like the women's, it could have been 1 minute between some, 2.5 between others. You would never tell because every time that buzzer rang, you were excited about what was happening next.
I think that's the big takeaway because you talk about like the history of the Royal Rumble and all the good ones, the good years and stuff, and how these ones are just kind of it's still fun, it's still the Rumble, but it's not the same, right? It doesn't have the same capture. The women's this year did have that, because it had compelling stuff to it. But when you don't have compelling stuff to it, this is what happens. You start breaking down the petty monotony bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
good point.
Well, we definitely want to hear from you guys. Tell us what you thought of the Rumble. James putting some polls up here. He's probably going to keep putting more polls up in chat if you're live. If you're not watching us live, hit us down in the comments. Let us know what you guys thought of the Rumble. Overall. Strike the women's better, men's better. Thoughts. Where are your thoughts at? You can also give me a congratulations for winning the title. I know it's been a long, hard road, but we're here.
Hey, I got the Bruno Sammartino record for us right now of 5 months. But that's the benchmark now. That's the Bruno Sammartino record. Because I think 5 months and pay-per-view championship in like years, like if you did like dog years, I feel like that's like a 4-year run. Like it's
Something
so
like that.
It's
It is
so
very-
impossible.
Well,
like I just had a horseshit in my ass. Like again,
it's
congratulations.
if you look at it, because we often come down to 1 point or tiebreakers almost every time, right? Almost every time. So, hey, I'm just happy to win one. So bring it in. It will be up for grabs again in about a month. So Revolution's a little bit about a month away. Cards starting to come together on that, guys. We're gonna get some resolution next week, maybe. I fully expect that Hanger Swerve match to just end in shenanigans. I don't know about y'all.
No contest.
Yeah, I hope so because if they do that triple threat, it's gonna be super rad.
Oh, yes, I need that in my life. In my life.
And we're going to find out more, like I said. So there's been a lot of rumors out there. A lot of people were expecting a lot of people to show up at Royal Rumble, okay? Some of those people aren't able to show up until, I don't know, about half an hour from now, Central Standard Time, right? Okada's is February 1. It's not February 1 yet.
It's February 1 in Japan.
In Japan, not when the Royal Rumble occurred, it was not, okay?
Yes.
Hey,
But-
Hogan works like 400 dates in a year flying back for 4th in Japan. There's time travel involved.
Time
That's
travel.
a good point. The word on the street is Okada and Mercedes Moné are AEW bound.
That's what I heard. That's the word.
I'm
Word.
a little surprised by the Okada part. I really thought. I mean,
They're
it makes
giving
sense.
him a butt ton of money.
a butt ton of money. He's already wrestled in AEW. They're going to treat him as a top star from the very start. I know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I figured WWE was going to come back with because Triple H really wanted him. So
They've had little to no talks, is what I understand.
well, next week
Little
is a major
to no.
announcement by Tony Khan, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you were a free agent and you heard the news last week, would you particularly want to go sign with the WWE?
Oh no, not now.
not at all. Not at all.
Shit, maybe AEW might get Julia too. Hey, that'd be a coup.
Would be
Julia
insane.
Thekla's gonna be. Oh my god, there's so many good women out there. All right. Any final thoughts? Royal Rumble, Dynamite, anything, guys?
Nope. We talked a lot.
We did talk
Yeah.
a lot.
That was a lot of pro wrestle talk.
Well,
Sure
we're
was.
going to stop the talking for now. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you giving us some of your time. We'll be back here next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. We'd love to see you back. Hit that like and subscribe button down below. If you want to know when we go live, you can hit the bell icon. We do sometimes do interviews that are different from our normal schedule. So if you hit that bell, you'll be notified when we go with a video. We'll see you guys next week. Jamie, take us home, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on Down Total Spotfest, I got 6 words for you.
Well, I got 4 words.
The champ is there. I guess.
Toot, 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 toot. See y'all next week.
Peace.
Later.